We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing an opportunity, and I actually have a piece in this week's Barron's about this, to increase our labor force through bringing people in off the sidelines. And one of the really untapped resources here,
like the 54-year-olds that are home.
The biggest resource, ex-offenders, people who have a criminal taint. We're seeing in pockets of our footprint in the industrial heartland for Fifth Third, we're seeing companies that have specialized in this. Cincinnati is one of the real centers of this, where you have companies that half their workforce, a third their workforce, are ex-offenders. And there's some academic evidence that if you do it right, you source them right, and you support them right, they're actually lower turnover, more productive workers.
The opioid epidemic also is taking people off the, out of the job market.
So
and if we see companies relax their drug testing standards, which we saw in the, I think it was the last beige book, there's some indications that companies were exploring this. That could also increase the labor force.
Sure. And this is one of the big disappointments, not only of the last expansion, but of the last several expansions, is that participation rates of prime-age males, and to some degree prime-age females, has been coming down. That's not demographic. That's likely reflecting in large part opioids and other social problems that I think are some of the issues you've touched on yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are three things that are different this cycle of the workforce. Long-term unemployment never reached these levels and have been as persistent. The opioid epidemic and the incarceration recidivism cycle.
Wow.
And you look at criminal justice reform and how many, you know, a lot of these people that you're talking about weren't violent criminals. They were pot smokers or users of the.
My starting premise is, and I say this as the father of young men, every young male is stupid. There's actually some neurological evidence to support this. No one, right? No one. You make a lot of people make judgment errors at that age. Right. But what we've done is criminalize some of those errors in ways we haven't in the past.
We've seen that in some of our recent guests that we've had on. You can just look at this, watch a young man go from 18 to 30 or so, and he's still paying for the crimes of his youth when he's 30 years old based on some of the criminal justice. I thought you were in Chicago, don't you?
I am in Chicago.
Okay, but you know what's happening in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and there's another pocket of excellence in Western Michigan. It's usually one business leader and then shows the model, and there's very consistent models in different geographies of how you do this the right way. And 16 million people have a felony record who are outside of jail or prison. That's an opportunity.
A little tear because I think we can do increased GDP and criminal justice reform.
At the same time,
your social, you know, your social virtues. You know, we can do that, and we can do a pro-capitalism GDP thing. We can find common ground.
This is a bipartisan.
Exactly.
This is a great day.
Yep.
It's a great day for America.
What's perfect?
That's why I said.
Jeff
I know
and
you're thinking
Michael,
of Meek Mills.
thank you very much.